have you seen the movie Rebecca? I think so many of you had, especially through my social media. I had loads of you, I mean loads, say that you saw Rebecca and you recognized this. So a couple of things. Those of you who have seen Rebecca or haven't seen Rebecca, yes, Mapperton was one of the homes. I think in total they used about 7 different homes, so it wasn't just one home that they used. But this is the most recognizable part of Mapperton right here. And if some of you followed me during the lockdown here in Britain back in March and April and May and part of June, I was cold dipping in this pool every single morning. So it's quite funny because I was doing that and I had forgotten that that Rebecca had been, I didn't forget that it had been filmed here, but I forgot that that it had been filmed in this part. So then all of a sudden people were like, oh my gosh, I just saw Rebecca. And that's the pool that you dunk into for 2 minutes and do your cold water immersion therapy. And that is exactly right. So so when they were getting ready for the big party, there's scenes out here of Mrs. De Winter, played by Lily James, getting ready. They decorated it with sort of lanterns all around. And then, of course, the ending shot was when Mandalay was on fire. This is right here. You can see she's running and the fire coming up. But what is a little bit different is if you watch that shot, there is Mandalay in the background. So clearly that was superimposed for the film. So you can see there's just blue sky behind our summer house. So this is our summer house. But in the movie, you can see her running and the whole sky is orange and there's Mandalay in the back, which was obviously superimposed here. So this was a big feature here. This is the summer house looking into this is our au natural pool, so they use that. And then I'm just going to take you around to the Arboretum a bit. So the Arboretum is another scene that maybe is a little bit less recognizable, but it's quite a big scene. But it's where Lily James was, well, I should just say Mrs. De Winter, was having a conversation with Max De Winter. So that's just down here. So as many of you know who have been following me for a while and watching these videos, the Mapperton estate itself is about 2,000 acres. A lot of that is farmland, but the formal gardens themselves are about 15 acres. So, and that includes this bit down here, the Arboretum part. So we'll just go down a little bit so that you can at least recognize it from, it's going to look a little bit different because obviously we're in a different season from when they filmed. They filmed in, oh gosh, summer. Yes, they filmed summer 2019. So they filmed summer 2019. And this is basically the Arboretum part. So this is the what we call the Arboretum, and when they filmed, and you can even see from a couple of the photos, it was in obviously summer bloom. We're now in, it's quite cold. So we're coming up to winter. But this end is usually filled with sort of Queen Anne's lace right around here. And if you followed me over lockdown, this was like streaming with beautiful sort of spring and summer flowers. So this is the Arboretum. I'm going to pause right here so Stephen can give you a good look. But again, this was where they were walking and having their scene here. So as you can see, we are fully into autumn, moving into winter, but we've had quite a few storms here. So a lot of the leaves in particular here have been blown off because of the big storms that we've had. But still, some lovely, lovely autumn colors here. So again, this is where they did film. It is kind of almost unrecognizable now when you watch the film. I mean, we know it because we're like, oh my gosh, there they are walking in the Arboretum. But there was a lot more color, and it was in the height of summer when they filmed. So looking very different. But that's the nice thing about visiting gardens, because they change obviously with the seasons. So it's nice to visit a garden 4 times a year. So let's head to one more big spot that they filmed, which is the Orangery. And again, I think you're going to recognize that one too. So coming up from here, I'm going to show you guys one more spot. And you're probably asking right now, did they film in the house? And the answer is yes, they did. So they did film in the house. They filmed in the drawing room, but they completely emptied the drawing room, completely emptied the drawing room. And so it looked totally different. But when you see it on the film, Rebecca, it's the way they edited it is it's so close up to the characters that you can't tell that it is. We knew, but it's really hard. Like I kept having to rewind and be like, is that the drawing room? Yeah, okay, yeah. So we could tell just from the curtains and the lights coming in, but it's really hard to tell. And remember, they took out all the furniture. So they took out all the furniture and put in their own furniture. So it made it just look completely different. So we were able to, at least, we could tell. So there was one room that was filmed, but obviously mostly they used the gardens here. So there is that scene where the sort of Max's entire family, I remember his grandmother, they're all here having sort of tea, but they put up they put up a canopy. So they did put up a canopy here. So this was built by my husband's grandfather in, I think about I think 1960s. I might be off by a couple years, but so this was built by my husband's grandfather, and this is the Orangery. And this is, again, the scene. It's definitely recognizable, but they put the canopy up here. So they put a canopy literally in this entire space, and then they were serving tea from these doors and looking out onto the gardens this way. So this was, if you remember that scene, it was quite I think a stressful scene for Mrs. De Winter, and because it was with Max's entire family. So this is where they were having the tea, looking into the gardens, but they used obviously a canopy here. But it is beautiful. In fact, let's just go in. We'll go in here and just look at the Orangery. I don't think we've done this before, Stephen, have we? Whoa, it's nice and warm. Now the question is, I've got to get this off. Here we go. Okay. Oh, look, I think I need to pick that. Wowzers. I just came back from Greece and these were everywhere. Like, doesn't that looks like it's ready to fall off as well. So I believe that these are actually lemons, not limes, as that goes to show. But this is just, and it's actually quite warm in here. Here you go. Here's another one. Look at this. It's brilliant. Big. Very, very big. Lovely. It is a beautiful day in the Orangery, that is for sure. And I got to think about what I'm going to do with these lemons. Fantastic. So yeah, so that is Rebecca for you. And I think from what I've heard, it's doing incredibly, incredibly well on Netflix. Like it's one of their, you know how Netflix doesn't give numbers, but it's obviously trending, and trending is like their #1 film. So that has been, that's been wonderful for us. So hopefully when we open back up to the public next year in 2021, the movie would have helped bring in more visitors, because that is, of course, what we need here as a historic house, is to bring in visitor income. And fingers crossed, every little bit helps, as we always say. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this update on Rebecca, and fingers crossed many more feature films will come here as well. And again, huge shout out to those of you in the top tier, Angeline, Taylor, Robert, Cheryl, and Sherry. Thank you guys so much for your patronage, and see you guys soon. Bye.